straight from class?
Yeah, I was just over there teaching at the gym, and no one really was showing up today. It's holidays, so.
Yeah. You teaching like all like, you jump through like adult classes, kids classes, everything?
Yeah, so I cover where I'm needed, and with the holidays, we got a lot of coaches that are kind of taking time off for their families. So, I stepped up. Like, I've been covering the kids classes, advanced kids classes, striking classes, jiu-jitsu classes. I kind of it all over there.
Do you like the behind the desk stuff too? Like,
Yep. So,
like if I message ABJJ, am I messaging you?
Like probably 20% of the time.
Yeah.
It's either me or one of the other bosses who have the social media. But I'm tight into all that.
Yeah, but you're just like the busiest guy at the gym, huh?
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
People always ask me when do I go home, and I'm like, this is my home.
Yeah. Do you do anything like work-wise, or is everything you do just at the gym?
So the gym is my job.
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
The gym is
Good
my
for
job,
you.
100%.
That's gotta be great.
It definitely, is advantageous for training, and
for sure.
And, just takes a little bit of a stress off my plate because I'm not having to like rush to get to the gym. I was doing that before. I started training when I was like a medical biller, so I was working a full-time job, and the hustle when you're trying to get there for class. 10 minutes late, you're like, damn.
I'm doing now.
So it's definitely nice to like be at the gym and just be like, all right, what's my excuse? There is one.
If I didn't train at 6 a.m, I would never go to class.
Yeah.
Like if I had and that's working like outside of the gym, right? Like working at the gym, like you said, it's such an advantage. Mm-hmm. But for me, if I get home and like sit down, my day is done.
Yeah,
like, I'm not getting back up. It's like the Muay Thai class. So like if you don't know, like do you know Ollie? So he, I guess, originally started the striking class at ABJJ.
Yeah, he was over there coaching there,
so I work with him, and he just recently, maybe last week, started a striking class for the staff at our work.
Nice.
So I started doing the Muay Thai classes. And it's supposed to be twice a week, but last Friday, I don't know what I had going on last Friday. It might have been the state championships for my son's wrestling, for high school wrestling.
Right.
So I think that's what it was. It was Friday and Saturday. And then this week, with my wife being sick and then us shooting this right now, if I was gone the entire day when she got off work, like, fuck, I'd be in trouble. So, but like, that's it. Like, and I just do like, for that one, I get up off the couch and I go in the afternoon, right?
Right.
But because like, we work together, we're friends, we're doing this, I was like, all right, I'll go to your class. Like, I'll drag myself up and do this. But if it wasn't for that, like a 6:30 jiu-jitsu class, like.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at those 6 a.m.ers like they're a different beast. You know what I mean? Like
it's something.
That 6 a.m. You got to get up early to train at 6 a.m.
It is,
so
it's like the 5 a.m. wake up time.
Yeah. Like you got to be really motivated.
When I started training at ABJJ, that's what I was doing. I was doing the 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah.
That shit was rough.
Oh, dude, it's dogs that go there, dude. They're all dogs.
All dogs.
The good thing about it is, like, you got to be pretty dedicated to train at 6 in the morning, right? Like, there's no just like, I'm gonna come in and see if I like it.
Let me poke my nose into it. 6 a.m. No one does that.
Like no, we're here to do what we need to do and like take it serious. So
for sure,
it's good. Like, kind of like a nice tight knit thing. Not many people come and go. Mm-hmm. Like once you come, like you're usually just kind of a part of it, unless you just decide it's not for you and you don't get that weird addiction. So.
That's kind of how our 6 a.m. club is. Like, I mean, they do other classes. Like we cross train all the time, but there's definitely a niche group of people who make those 6 a.m.s religiously.
Yeah, I went to one of them, and I think it was Dylan teaching. Yep. So, like, of course, Elliot was there, and there's like really good people that got 6 a.m. class. And I don't want to say like there's not good people at like our 6 a.m. class too, because we have like a wide range of belts for everyone from like white, a couple browns, a few purples now, and then Jordan, the legacy black belt, teaches Mondays now, and then my black belt Roger comes and goes. Mm-hmm. So like we have a little bit of everybody, but same with you guys. I was pretty surprised like how big the class was.
Yeah.
I want to say there was like a dozen people there, and 6 in the morning is not like your 30 person 6 p.m. class, right?
Right.
And then I think there was like 2 black belts there maybe. So yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, I feel like just as you go through jiu-jitsu and like life, like you were saying, right? You get a family, you get a job, your time becomes scarce, and those are the kind of the people who tend to make those 6 a.m.s or those people who are like also grinding like a full 9 to 5 and then also have like kids and family at home and
that's what it is.
like they got a lot on their plate. So I'm definitely like hats off to those 6 a.m.ers.
Yeah. It's like the dad jujitsu thing. Like, I can't take time away from my kids, and then like after I get off work and, my schedule's pretty crazy. So like some days I work graves, some days I work swings, some days I work days, but everything kind of revolves around like my kids wrestling now. So like whether my son's like high school wrestling, whenever his duels are, my daughter goes to, it's at 5:30 now, wrestling at Legacy. So like with the Avalanche kids. So like everything's that. Like I'll pull myself off the couch to get them to practices and do all that.
Right.
But fuck, I just gotta sit there the whole time.
Right. Like
so,
you can recover, right?
Yeah,
you
the whole time.
can be recovering that whole time.
I can be as lazy as I want, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like I mean, I teach the kids class, and I always joke with the parents that it's a reminder that I don't really want kids at the moment, but it's only because
it's a great reminder.
It's like it takes away from your training, and like. It's a full-time job in and of itself, and so like
it's a big responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility, and like it's not anything to scoff at, but I'm just like I see all the kids, and I see parents who can't make it or whatever because of kids, and I'm just like, I don't want them right now. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I've been telling people now, and like some of the people I work with, like they're all, I want to say 30 and above for the most part, and like they just had kids. And they plan their kids. I'm like, man, good for you guys. Like, that's the thing to do. Like, you shouldn't be having kids until like you're after 25.
Right.
30 is a great age, but like you gotta be like, fuck, you need to be mature.
Well, and ready for it, right?
And ready for it. Like if you plan it, like I have, we have 4 kids, and none of them are planned, so it just makes it so tough. But like, if we'd have planned it, like that means you're mature, right? Like. Kind of, I guess. There could be some people who plan it poorly.
Fair.
But
Fair.
But yeah, like the maturity to have that kids is something.
I think financial stability is the most important thing.
Oh, for sure.
Which is like impossible now, right?
Man.
We're working like 2 full-time jobs here, obviously between me and my wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess we're financially stable, but like we're not like fucking building some crazy savings account over here. Like. We still notice that milk and eggs is crazy expensive, and whatever else you buy, and a bag of groceries $30 a bag, right?
Yeah.
So like it's pretty impossible to be financially stable nowadays. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm lucky that the gym affords me that, like enough to keep me from struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm able to train and fight and do the things that I enjoy doing, and I always tell myself like. I'm only young once, so like my body's only going to be able to withstand all this training and stuff one time in my life. So
tell me about it. So I got my 4th stripe on my brown belt last Friday, maybe.
Ooh, congrats.
And thanks. I've been like, and I'm still kind of like in the spot because, like I said, my black belt, he comes and goes, and it's like a struggle to be like, well, should I seek out a different one? What should I do? Should I go to different classes to where black belts are? But like. Being under him is like a pretty important thing for me. I'd be his first person black belt, first person white to black belt. I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. So like he popped in, gave me the 4th stripe. But like one thing he says, so this is gonna go with like the body being young once thing. Like I'm just like injury ridden, and like I don't like take too much time off ever. Like it's just been like multiple days a week forever since I started back. Yeah. And so now, like I'll train through injuries, stupid enough, and like, you shouldn't do that.
It's hard not to.
It is, right?
We all got the same itch.
Like, exactly, right? Like, it's a weird addiction. So, so you just go through it, and like, I just like crazy knee. It's like every major joint like in the body is like just rough, right? Hips and knees, and my elbows hurt all the time. So, like his thing was like, all right, like. He's doing great, blah, blah, blah. We need to keep him healthy. And it's like everybody's job to keep him healthy. And I'm like, I need all of you guys for this because I'm barely making it right now. We're going to make it to black belt, though.
Yeah.
But I need you guys' help to baby me.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, and I always like, I explain to people because I have friends who, aren't necessarily into competing or, they just want to do jiu-jitsu to be a little healthier. Or, I have older people who, meet me on the street and they ask me about it. And I'm like, jiu-jitsu truly is for everyone. Like you said, like
definitely.
It people on the mat if you let them know, they're the nicest people you
Seriously.
know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one's out here really trying to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
And be that, you don't want that on your conscience. Like
Yeah.
I've accidentally injured somebody in like the training room, you
Same.
know, and like serious. And
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it's guilt, you know, it's a guilt that
Yeah.
no one really wants. So it's like, you know, I always tell people like, no matter what, you can make jiu-jitsu for you. It's just like you said, like you got to know your body and be honest with yourself. You
Yeah.
know, like,
And that's the thing, like, and the
And be
people
honest with your
who,
partner.
the
Yes.
people who are just like true hobbyists, right? Like,
Mhm.
they're still gonna get bit by that bug. Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
still gonna be like, I could probably train, even though I heard that pop.
right.
Like, but they're probably be a little more realistic about it. Like, I'll take the week off. I'll take 2 weeks off or something
Yeah.
like that. To where, like the extreme hobbyist is like, no, we're fine.
Oh,
We're gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, dude. I hear
Yeah.
clicks and bangs. And,
Everything.
I mean, it sounds like you're shaking up some marbles in a jar over
Yeah.
here sometimes,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yeah, that's fine.
and those
That's
people,
normal.
Turn up the
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
just like you're in your car,
yeah,
you know.
it's totally normal.
That rattles fine.
But those people who like come in and like, you know, are there and maybe not like to injure somebody but they're gonna injure somebody.
Mm.
They're generally not the people that get like bit by that bug and they're gonna be there forever, right?
Mhm,
They're
mhm.
usually in and then, you know, in a fairly short amount of time, and like
Right.
jiu-jitsu years, it could be a month, it could be 2 months.
Yeah.
They're eventually gonna fade away for the most part. Like they're
Right.
not usually there like sticking it out the whole time, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I do a lot of talking because I'm a smaller individual. I mean, I weigh 145 pounds
Yeah.
at best, you know, so I'm like, I talk to people all the time, you know, especially like ladies who do jujitsu, and they're like, oh, you know, how do you protect yourself? I'm like, you just have to be smart about it, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to pick your partners, like you said, like recognize that maybe the 250-pound new guy
Right?
isn't the guy that you should
Yeah.
partner up with, and like it's okay to
And
be
it's
like,
all right to tell them no.
yeah,
right?
it's okay to
That's the
just be
thing.
like, hey, no, I'm gonna go do like a hip drill over here by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
that
risk
was
a limb.
And that was like one of my big problems. Like, and I want to say up until recently,
Mhm.
like I wouldn't tell anybody no. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, if you want to roll, let's roll.
It's tough.
And then, and like now I pay for it, and like now I feel like, you know, guilty about it.
Mhm.
But recently, like I said, probably within the 6 months, I'm just like, no, we'll pass.
Yep.
Even if it's just like not making eye contact with that person. Like, you're the only person left. Like, I'm just gonna go walk around and pretend to coach people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel perfectly fine about it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, there was like, I mean, there is definitely that like stigma at first, I think, especially when you're like a white belt and like new at a gym. You're like, I don't tell anyone no.
No.
Especially if I'm asked, like,
Yeah. I'm
And-
no pussy.
and yeah, exactly.
I
Like you
still
kind
have
of,
that every now and again, but it's like, dude,
I don't blame you, man.
you
People get
gotta.
it.
Sometimes you gotta take the chill. You
yeah,
gotta just
no
relax.
doubt, no doubt. Like you said, it's like you got to be honest with yourself and just be like, hey, man, like I hurt my back a week ago. You're
Yeah.
probably gonna stack me. I'm not gonna
Oh,
enjoy this.
bro, that's
like,
it too, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I get stacked a lot. I hate that shit.
Me too. And like, I'm like, it's nice to hear other people be like, yeah, I'm 145 pounds. Because I usually think of myself as like a small person. But like, you know, on a bad or a good day, I'll weigh like 180. On a bad or a good day, I'll weigh like 170.
Right.
So it just depends like how much of a piece of shit I'm eating, like really, and like how lazy I'm being, and when I'm skipping classes this week. But man, like, so like I'm like the big small person or a smaller bigger person,
Mm-hmm.
but probably anyone I roll with bigger than me just stacks me.
Yep.
And I don't have it in me yet. It's probably another one of those recently things. Like I'm just maturing now, and like I'll let go of the triangle or let go of the arm bar now. But before I went, I'm like, oh, we're finishing this still.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ride this thing out.
Yep. And then like I just pay for it. Like, oh man, my back's bad
Yeah,
now.
that
I
rib
shouldn't
kinda
have
clicks.
done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
No, you definitely. I mean, and like, I think that comes with you know time on the mat though. You know, like I've not seriously hurt myself, but I've been stacked enough times that
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, holding on doesn't work. Maybe
Yeah.
letting go will be better. You
Yeah.
know, and like,
Yeah, the 20% of the time that this triangle finishes is probably not
Worth it,
the
yeah.
80% of the back problems I have.
exactly.
You know, my neck's already messed up. I could get stacked some more. I like to be inverted anyway.
And that's what it is most of the time. Like I said, until I've just recently matured. That's what it was. It'd be like, my back's already bad,
Yeah.
my neck's bad, everything. My knees are bad, but we're still locking this triangle.
We're
Right.
still doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny too, because like you said, like it get every now and then you'll have that like little bit of hubris, and that's what like, you know, people talk about jiu-jitsu is an ego killer, and I'm like, it is an ego killer, but like everyone's victim to their ego.
Yeah, bro. You still
like,
have to have an ego.
100%.
Like
100%.
We're not out here like, you know, if you didn't have an ego, like, oh, I'm just gonna let everybody submit me. Like,
right.
No way. Like, I'm here to get subs
it's
too.
An ego
you know,
killer, but a confidence booster.
Exactly, and like you can't build confidence and not be in turn building an ego. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's just you're trying to make it a healthy one.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone's victim to the. I want to tap this guy, you
Yeah.
know, and like, you
Exactly.
know,
Like, hey,
I don't want to let him out of this.
Yeah,
You know?
no purple belts just being like,
enemy.
yeah, it's okay. The blue belt's gonna submit me today.
Right.
No way.
Right.
Or the new blue belt, you know,
Yeah.
they're not gonna let the 4-stripe white belt or the white belt come in and take that blue belt from them, right?
But like you said, like it's like, especially, I mean, now like I recently got my brown belt, and it's like, you know, you kind of get that mental maturity of like, all right, like
it's all right.
I'm close. Yeah, I'm close to like, not necessarily the end, but like I'm close to that first, like that first goal.
Yeah.
And
that first major
jiu-jitsu
milestone.
goal.
And at white belt, like, they're all big goals. Like blue belt was the goal, and then it was purple belt.
What are you talking about? Blue belts?
Blue belt's the only
Like, it
goal.
is the goal.
That's the goal, yeah. And then, but yeah, like once, as I said, man, like once you get to brown belt, you're like, oh man, those were nothing. Like,
when you also realize like you just have, I have so much more time on the mats. Like, what am I gonna keep chasing a belt? No, like I have to be chasing like skill and the chase for the ultimate skill of like black belt technique, or what I consider black belt technique of like ultimate efficiency, you know.
Yeah.
Anytime I roll with a black belt, still to this day I'm like, oh, I'm miles behind this. Like,
I think I had it too, like when I first got to brown belt. Like now, like, and like when you first get there and like you roll with them, like you still a lot of the time just like blank, but like, all right, what are we doing here? When you could like roll with the purple belt or like another brown belt and just be on and just have it all, but then like the black belt comes and you're like, I just forget everything. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't even usually do that. Like, that's not my game. Why was I even doing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that shock and awe of like the black belt skill where you put it, like they're on a pedestal, you know?
Right.
And then, man, it's like now, like I feel it. Like it's like, oh no, we're good. We're there. Like I can push my game on somebody else and do that.
I always feel like I'm being sucked into their game, no matter how hard I try.
Exactly. That's what it is, right?
The quicksand is taking me.
That's I think the ultimate like black belt feeling is like you're helpless even when you're trying your hardest. And like, whether you're doing something or doing nothing, you have that same feeling of helplessness, and that's like I tell my friends and my family, I'm like, that's my goal. Like, I don't really want the belt, but I want the skill to make somebody at the entire time feel like they're not in control. Because like that was my first experience with a black belt. Was like, this is
holy
different.
Shit.
Like I don't know how your guys' first day of jiu-jitsu went, but it was like blue belt, brown belt, black belt, and I was like, oh snap! Like there's levels, because like the blue belts were like, I was like, oh man, they're gods. Yeah. And then the brown belt touched me, and I was like, "Well, what was that? Because you're different."
Hey, you guys suck.
Yeah, and then a black belt grabs you.
You beat me, but you guys suck.
And then a black belt grabs you, and you're just like, "Oh snap!" Like
this guy's for real.
So it's definitely cool, but yeah, like I want the skill. That's what I always tell people, is I want that, like, I want people to be like, "Oh, he's."
I had so I was a purple belt, and I started dropping in to open mats at ABJJ, and my professor is the one who like set up, like, you need to go here, you need to go there, you need to go open mats and test yourself out. And it was there, like I'm pretty sure he like called ahead and made sure like good people would be there too. And then I think it was just like more of like, you need to be like confident in yourself and do this, because like if I could, like I would just only train like with the people I'm used to, and just like I seek comfort, and you know like an introvert and don't like new things or anything like that. So he did that, and I rolled with, you know, everybody there. And then this was like, I was probably midway through purple belt, or like on the upper side of it, and like it was just that mindset of like, no, I'm a brown belt, like I can do this. And like I rolled like he was like 3 or 4 stripe brown belt at the time, like 3 stripe brown belt maybe. But like he grabbed on, and everything he did was just like for a submission. Everything was just super tight. And I think he recently got his black belt, and I wish I remember the guy's name, but like fuck, he was fucking good. Yeah. And like that's when I was like, oh shit, I'm not there.
Oh, dude.
I take it back. I'm not there.
Man, when was that? Probably, I think April. I was traveling the East Coast, and I popped into Lucas Lepre's gym in North Carolina, and I did their advanced class, which is like blue belts and up.
Yeah.
And man, I was like a 3-stripe purple belt, and I was like, okay, like I'm a purple belt, and these other purple belts grabbed me, and I was like, oh man, buddy, like.
They probably like being at a big gym like that. Like they probably compete though, right?
Oh,
like,
for sure. Every weekend. Like one of the purple belts, he was like, my dad is a black belt in Canada, and I'm down here like basically for the summer training with Lucas. And this other kid was I'm pretty sure he was from Brazil, and he was. So they definitely travel.
There is a difference, right? Like. Between like even if like you compete, right, like you compete in like the local state tournaments and stuff like that, and like the MMA career, but like if you're not competing jiu-jitsu like every weekend like competitors are, that's another level. Right?
Well, it's time on the mat, it's like it's
and those like competition purple belts, like especially down there, or like the IBJJF and doing all that, like they're not really purple belts.
They're good.
They're not the hobbyist purple belts you see in the gym, in like your local gym, right? Like no, these guys are like.
They took it to me, man. I remember I went in there, and I was confident, and I held my own, but like I walked out, and my girlfriend picked me up, and I got in the car, and I was like, I need 15 minutes of silence. I feel like I'm going to puke. It is way too hot. It's way too humid. I haven't been here before. They just smoked me. Like,
everything's wrong right now.
I was like, I do not feel good. She was just like, okay, let's get you some water.
I don't even know if that'll help.
That's how I felt when I went to Colorado.
Oh, man.
It was crazy up at high altitude. It wasn't even that hot. It was just the lack of oxygen, man.
Yeah, that air hits different.
Yes, dude, it really hits different.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. All right, man. MMA fights coming up.
Yeah.
Last one was canceled, right?
Yes.
That was what, October?
Yes, October.
In Fairbanks. So you drive down, you fly down.
I drove up. Yep.
I guess it would be up. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend and her mom drove up, and
for nothing.
For nothing. Yeah. My opponent didn't show. Didn't
even show.
No, didn't say anything to the promoter. I step on the scale, I make weight, and I look at the promoter, and she goes, I haven't heard from him.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. I guess.
You did your part.
Yeah, like what can I do?
Nothing,
the
right?
only thing I can do is hope that the Fairbanks guy would show up to the Fairbanks promotion to fight me.
Right, yeah. Because the Anchorage guy just drove up 6 hours.
Right.
Cutting weight, 6-hour drive. You're like,
terrible.
That doesn't sound fucking great.
It wasn't the best, but,
No.
I was telling my friends and family, like, it's part of the game. It was bound to happen at some point, You don't look at anyone's record and not see a canceled
we were on
fight.
here, and Kevin was like on Tapology, and you've had like 3 or 4 canceled fights.
Yeah, I've had a couple canceled fights. One of them, the early one, I think the whole event got scrapped, and so they pushed it a month.
Okay.
And then
you fought the same guy though.
Fought the same guy the next month, I believe, and then.
How far in advance did you find out that it was done?
If I remember correctly, I think it was like about a 3-week notice, 4-week notice.
Right. So it wasn't like you were,
No, that one
we weren't cutting weight and
No.
making that final push yet necessarily. No. Okay.
And then the other one, opponent got sick, and that was again plenty of notice. I mean, what are you gonna do when you're sick? I get it,
Yeah.
So they were lucky enough to find me a new opponent, and then the new opponent was the one who didn't show up. So that's
shit. All right.
That's kind of how.
So that was the October one.
Yes.
Oh shit! All right, I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
Ouch. So what a roller coaster, huh?
Yeah, it was a lot of. We got you a fight. Sorry, can't do it. Oh, got you a new one.
Yeah.
But he doesn't show.
But then you don't find out until the night before.
Yep.
That one sucks. That one happened to my first fight, would have been fight.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that, right?
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because like you were on there tagging someone to fight. He was still trying to find you someone to fight.
He was still trying to find me someone to fight, even like the day of the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the post on the weigh-ins post, and he was like, come in, still weigh in. I think we'll find somebody. And like I'm reading these comments, I was like, fuck. I mean, good luck. But,
yeah.
I mean.
And unfortunately, that tends, it's the Alaska scene, like without having a commission and without having to be like a licensed fighter, we have, not necessarily like. There's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, there's nothing really like bounding you to it, right?
Exactly.
Like, what's the consequence? Like,
nothing.
Maybe next time
People
nobody wants to fight this guy.
Word of mouth between other promoters, but
but at the same time, the Alaska scene is like someone else will sign up to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Someone with like no experience or something like that that just wants to get a fight in. Yeah. Like someone will fight him still.
Yeah. And so, like I always tell people, it is what it is, and like charge it to the game. You know, like. You can't complain about it, but a canceled fight is a canceled fight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can
luckily,
do.
I was, able to stand by, and a similar situation happened to my new opponent, and his opponent pulled out, and I was there, ready to step in, and I just what goes around comes around,
Yeah. So the new fight, February 6th, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, Alex Aschenbrenner.
Yes, sir.
For the belt?
Yes, sir, for the 125 belt.
Is that the weight class you normally fight in, 125?
That's the one I prefer to fight in for sure.
Okay. But you bounce between that and
135? Yeah. He is the 135 champion, but he's going for his second belt at the 125 class.
Oh, so it's a vacant belt right now?
It's a vacant belt.
Awesome.
And so I'm going in also trying to win and put my name in the hat for that flyweight top flyweight of the state,
Nice. So then this is for Solid as a Rock, coming up here in Anchorage for the first time.
Yeah.
Have you fought in the Ace before too?
I have fought in the Airline Center before.
Ace
Combat. I have not fought
Alaska
Ace
Combat. No. Okay.
I've been to a couple of their events though.
Yeah, I went to. I guess it wasn't even the last one. It was in the Halloween one, maybe. I think that was it.
October.
Yeah, maybe. I might have made that up.
Or the Friday the 13th one.
Yeah, because some people were dressed up. Yeah, so it was that one. Went to that one, and then, but I mean, you were around back when AFC was still here, right?
Yeah, so I mean, my first couple of fights were with the original promoter Sarah in the AFC,
and that's supposed to be coming back because she got it back. She came on, and she was one of my first guests. So that was last year, and it was supposed to be here this year. So I need to reach back out to her.
They've been doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes.
Right? I keep some posts about it, pictures, but I don't know if it was just about the reality show that was going on or something.
Speaking of that, did you ever get messaged about the reality show?
I did get messaged about it. I ended up having a couple of like Zoom interviews with some of the producers of the show. So my name was in that hat for sure.
Very cool.
Nice. What's the concept behind it?
They also messaged me. I don't know, but they were like they wanted me to quit my job and do all that, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Like that's not like that's how I train. Like I go to work, I train. Like that's what we do up here.
Like, most people have that 9 to 5 life.
This is
training when they can.
This is like a local show here. Like
they told me they were just trying to get like more of like rural Alaska. Yeah. And like people who like train and live out in the bush, and like unfortunately, the reality is like there's a couple of fighters who do that, but most of them are like temporary in the bush, and then they live in in the cities.
And those aren't going to be like the top guys.
Yeah, you got to be closer to the facilities.
You don't want necessarily people who live full time like out in the bush as the face of like the Alaska scene.
They wanted you
nothing
out
against
there
them.
doing,
It's just like
training in the snow and like
chopping wood and fucking Rocky IV style.
Yeah, exactly. Like I almost want to say they might have referenced Rocky IV. Like at some point they were like, any sort of like outside training, and I was like, I can be authentic Alaskan because I'm born and raised here, and like.
But we need you to be Apollo Creed.
Exactly. They were like, can you be like the gold miners, but also punching stuff? And I'm like, nah.
I don't think so.
But no, it's cool, and I mean, hopefully something comes of it. It'd be awesome just in general to get exposure for the fight scene up here because I mean, we've had a couple of fighters out of Alaska, but in general, the light isn't really shined up here, and so
no, because now even like the fighters who like were from up here, like that are like known fighters in the UFC right now, like Lauren and Jared. Well, they don't live here
right
anymore. Like they
right.
started here,
mm-hmm.
but nothing's really like shining on, and you're not hearing any of them reference Alaska or anything like that necessarily. And before that, like I feel like it was years before that, before like we had anybody else there, and those were like Rob Yunt days, and people like who were listening to this probably don't even like know who like those early AFC guys were,
right?
That
like,
made it to the UFC.
Nick,
never heard that.
Nick, who was on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I do know Nick. I have seen that.
And then former owner AFC, he made it on the Ultimate Fighter. Terrence was on the Ultimate Fighter, the 125 champ season.
I think Terrence is the only like born and raised Alaskan, still living in Alaska, and that's fighting in the UFC now, right?
Yeah, and like unfortunately, if you want to like fight, world class opponents, there is something behind going to like the lower 48s and training with world class training partners. Like Alaska's going to take you so far, but the other like and he was doing it before, like him and his brother Maurice, shout out to them. He was also on Dana White Contender Series. They made the venture out. Like one was training at Alpha Male, and then Terrence was at Jackson Winklejohn. So like at the time, like, and this was years ago, like at the time, like those were like two of the biggest gyms in the world.
Still are top names. Still are top names in the game.
Right? Yeah. So like, but that's kind of what you need to do. Like if you want to break through and make it on like that world class stage, like you do need world class training partners, and you're probably not flying them in here.
No,
you got to go to them.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of those things that
it's a huge obstacle, right? Like obviously you can do it without it.
It's a giant obstacle, and but I always tell people like that's kind of the thing with Alaska with everything. You know what I mean? Like you can't name a venture in Alaska that's not made harder by the fact that we're not connected to the lower 48. You want to be a football player, you want to be a wrestler, you want to be a basketball player. Like big schools don't like you don't get Alabama coming up here recruiting our running backs or nothing. So
I think like I don't even know like what the closest thing would be. Like basketball might be the closest, and that's just because UAA has a basketball team.
Yeah,
who
probably.
I think does all right, but
hockey might be.
We have a pro minor league team up here,
and like I think they travel down, but like I don't know, like I said, I don't think they're going and playing against like those D1 schools. I wouldn't know. I mean, I could just be saying that. Like they could be, but like I'd imagine it's more of like a Division II type of school.
I think UAA is a D2 school.
Well, I know our hockey used to be D1.
That's crazy.
Did they?
Know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that Seawolf hockey was pretty like.
We weren't
like the bomb, but I mean we're Alaskan, so like hockey is something.
It's limited, right? Like. You're going to come out of high school, like, you're not traveling around the States, right? Like you said, you're still isolated up here and playing just really other Alaskan teams.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it's one of the realities of living up here, Like I said, I'm born and raised up here, so jiu-jitsu wasn't my first venture, my first idea of like how I'm going to make it out. Like I wanted to play football and that didn't work out, and then I wanted to go to college out of state, and then that didn't work out, and I'm just, one of those people that's like, okay, well, Alaska is hard to make it out of, and it's the brutal honesty of it. When you're up here, and I didn't choose to live here, but I am still here, and so I'll probably represent Alaska without a doubt. But like you were saying, like the opportunities aren't necessarily here. Like you got to make do with what you can, but ultimately at some point, I always tell people like I want to fight out of the state. I don't necessarily want to go train out of the state, but like you said, like you got to test yourself against that higher level of competition, or you're just a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah, for sure.
I think training trips are super beneficial. I also think they're super fun. Every time I go on like a vacation, I always try and find like a gym to hit up and train and cross train there.
I feel like my wife would kill me if I did that.
Super beneficial.
Like the only time I've trained, I trained and competed out of state, but it's because I moved to Florida for a year, so I had really no choice to do it. But even like I said, like the testing yourself out of state, like that gave me the opportunity to test myself and be like, at the time I was a purple belt and came up for a funeral, back up, went back down. I got promoted here, went back down to brown belt. But I was there, I was like, all right, good, I'm a purple belt here too, right? Like, and then got back and it's like, all right, I'm a brown belt here too. Like, so no matter like where I go, it's like, all right, I'm confident. Like that's still a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like not even a confidence boost, but like
So it's almost like a relief, right?
Exactly. Like, you're like, okay, well, I'm not learning bullshit now because I know that, like, I can hold my own at another school, you know, like you were saying, like, you know, getting to pop in here and there, wherever I am, I try to, same deal, try to find a place to train because it's like, all right, like, I know I'm a purple belt at my school, but am I a purple belt here?
Yeah, I'm an Alaska purple belt, you know?
Right.
Well, like we're saying, right? Like, it's like you never really know until you leave the pond how big of a shark you are.
And that was the thing with me having to go to different open mats. So like, all right, like you're at the time a purple belt here at Legacy at 6 a.m, but are you a purple belt at ABJJ at their noon open mat? Or at AGA or stuff like that, and to go and find out, like, oh, thank God I am, like I said, huge relief.
Well, and like, you know, to me that's like the ultimate reason why I'm doing this. Like, I am not just a jiu-jitsu guy or an MMA guy. Like, I consider myself a martial artist. Yeah. And like, ultimately, I'm trying to prove that my techniques are valid. Yeah. You know, like, I want to test the skills that I've learned and see if they're legit or not, you know? Yeah. And like, get rid of the ones that don't work and get the ones that do, because, you know, for me it's all just like a thirst for improvement, right? Yeah. Like, I'm trying to get the best skills that I can. So it makes the journey fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes the journey fun. Sure.
The opposite of me, I'm just here to keep the techniques that don't work and keep trying them over.
Yes, sir.
Buggy chokes every day.
Yes, sir.
Well, I haven't done a buggy choke in, it might have been close to a year now, and I used to do them a lot. And I introduced this guy, John Kaler, so shout out to him, back in Florida, the buggy choke, and he's getting everyone with it, like competition scenes and combat jiu-jitsu and all this stuff, and he's hitting them like crazy. But man, once I moved back, I went to an open mat at Legacy one day, didn't warm up, and it was completely my fault, obviously. And this one, like, really good fucking jacked wrestler, he wanted to roll. I wasn't warmed up yet, but I still had it in me. I was like, yeah, let's roll. And then just kind of like, I'll just warm up on bottom. And he gave me the buggy choke, and I put it on, and then, pow, blew my knee. Yeah. And it was like, I have knee problems already where, like, they'll slip out of place, you know, so, like, you just casually tap out. So it's bad enough to where, like, you can just kind of push it back in. And then it's pretty all right. Like, it'll come out easier for a little bit, but
that's dedication, man.
Yeah,
so that's where, like,
that's when I'd be like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
So it was after that to where, like, the maturity kicked in, but like, I'll take a week off now.
And then you're like, but I'm gonna buggy choke that wrestler.
Yeah, we're gonna get him though. Yeah, so I had it, like, and it popped. I was like, oh fuck, just, you know, casually tapped out.
Was he moving weird or like?
No, it was just like he was doing fine. Like, he wasn't like moving at all, really. Like, I think he knew like something was going on, and he was just holding out on it. So I was like, all right, we're gonna readjust. And I think the problem is, like, it readjusted, and like, if you watch like some of the guys that do it, like Craig Jones, like, he wraps under and he grabs his foot, right? I usually just went palm to palm and squeezed that, but like, he was holding off so long. I was like, all right, we're gonna try grabbing the foot, and I think it just put a little bit different torque than I was used to, and not being warmed up, and then bam, you just heard it go. So yeah, I throw it up every once in a while now just to see, like, mentally, but I still have such a mental block. I'm so afraid of it now. It's like, oh, I'll just never bucket choke again.
Yeah, I remember that when that choke got popular, I was watching some kids compete. One of our, like, teenagers at our school compete at the gym, and someone put him in a buggy choke, and I listened to Ryder, ABJJ owner. I listened to him coach him on the defense. Yeah. And I've just remembered that defense ever since, because I was like, what the hell? I'm not going to get caught in that.
No,
like,
no way. No.
You know, like, it's a very effective defense. You can kind of hold off in there if you know, stack them and put a kickstand under that belt.
Yeah.
Under that butt.
Yeah, just put the knee under the butt. Another fun defense, you just buggy choke back from the top.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I heard that, like, the top buggy always wins.
Really?
I never
Probably have gravity on the side.
I was going to say, I believe it. You're on the top. You're pushing more pressure down.
Yeah. I've never tried it just because, you know, I don't know, I just wasn't comfortable, like, fishing it through from the top. I just felt like it put a little more torque on my knees. But I heard it, so, I mean, shit, feel free to try it out. Yeah. But yeah, I would never get fucking buggy choked.
I'm not big on like tweaking your knees though. You know, like, I don't do like rubber guard or Like
I only do rubber guard on one side because one of my knees is a bit iffy right now. It's been kind of scaring me, dude.
See? Yeah, and that's what it takes. Dude. I'm glad that you realized that before something happens to it, though.
Yeah.
Because I knew for
I think
years
something
my
did
knees
happen
were
to it
bad.
already, that's the problem.
Yeah, fair enough. I knew my knees were bad years before mine blew, and I still just was just playing with fire. And just was stupid.
Well, it's like that itch, right? Like I have a buddy who, I think he tore his rotator cuff or something training, and I was like, "You gonna get surgery for that?" And he's like, "And then be out for 8 months and then never have the same range of motion again?" And I was like, "You're dedicated, bro." Yeah. Like,
you know how much more range of motion I have with it torn?
I was like, "Damn, buddy, like, you're committed to the cause." But like,
it's fun. Yeah, it's hard to help it though, right? Like, it's a very healthy yet unhealthy addiction that it turns into.
Yeah.
Like once that bug bites you and like you're just down for jiu-jitsu, like kiss every healthy body away.
Yeah.
It's not happening anymore.
I also think it just makes like so much other stuff like seem less intense, at least, like beforehand. Not that I'm not still into other sports, but like I used to be like really into other sports.
Yeah.
And like competition has always been something I've been about. And then, I got bit by jiu-jitsu bug and all of a sudden MMA looked cool. Yeah. And then I got bit by the MMA bug and now all of a sudden I'm like, I just want to watch people fight. Yeah. Like I'm constantly watching people fight because I'm just like, this is what I want to see.
People throwing balls, who cares about that?
Yeah, no shit.
Every time I watch a sport, I'm just like, throw hands, don't let them do that to you.
Yeah. I used to like team sports and those ball sports, like when I was in high school and I played team sports and I did that. But then once I was out of it, like I was just like, what's my reason for watching it? Like I'm not like really a fan of any of these guys or any of these teams necessarily. I just watched it because, to see what maybe they did in certain situations, which is why I watch jiu-jitsu or wrestling or MMA now. I just want to see like what you're doing in this situation.
Yeah, like I definitely still, I hold on for dear life to my football, but it's a struggle because I still only watch like my game till noon and then I go train right afterwards. Yeah. I'm like, I can't just sit here and watch 8 hours of football like I used to,
But I could watch an entire fight card.
Yeah,
I could watch an 8-hour fight card.
Sure. Well, I have
I'll wake up at 3 a.m. to watch a one championship fight card.
Right.
Well, Buchecha's fighting. I gotta wake up
at 3 a.m. Raw Tank's fighting. Come on.
Why wouldn't I YouTube that on a legal stream or something?
Yeah, for real.
And one used to be on YouTube. Yeah. How great was it then? And now it's on Prime, and I don't have Prime anymore.
Yeah.
So
very sad.
What was your first martial arts? Was it jiu-jitsu?
No. So when I was a kid, I started with Taekwondo. There's like a picture of me when I was like 4 in a little, kimono. In a white belt, and I have a brother who's 5 years older than me, so he was already in it. Yeah. And I would obviously go as a kid and watch.
Yeah. And so this was like 90s.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I should have been. It was probably 99 or 2000 that I started.
But that was the thing back then.
That was when I was born.
Oh, yeah. Taekwondo was a banger back then.
Like, that was the thing.
Taekwondo was a banger.
Like, jiu-jitsu wasn't necessarily a thing, like, at least, like, cool up here, like, mainstream. Yeah, it was karate. It was, like, kicking stuff, Yeah. Like, that was what everyone wanted to do, so.
Well, and it's funny, too, because, I did it for years as a kid and loved it. Only quit because my brother quit, and you know how that goes. Your brother does something, you want to do the same thing, and it was funny because years go by, and I meet my neighbor, and we become good friends. Shout out to Conway Palmer. But she's talking to me one day. We're walking home from the bus stop, and she goes, "Oh, you did Taekwondo. You'd like jiu-jitsu." And in my head, I'm like, "I've watched Naruto. That shit ain't real. You're not getting me with that." And she's like, no.
Do they do that?
My stepdad, well, I just was confusing them for ninjutsu or whatever, and like, as a kid, I was like, I just blew her off. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, my stepdad, he's a black belt in it, and he's really good, and it's really cool. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Whatever. Yeah. Completely blew him off. Ended up being Todd Palmer, one of the original starters of ABJJ, and where I train now. And I was like, what are the odds, man?
Yeah,
like, I could have, at 12, 13, could have been starting.
Oh, so you found that out, like well after.
Oh yeah, I mean, I found out when I didn't start jiu-jitsu till I was 21.
Yeah.
And I walked into a class, and I'm watching class, and walks in Todd and Nani Palmer, and I'm like, I know them. They're my neighbors.
Yeah.
And then probably 30 minutes later, this guy walks in, Matt Stout, and I recognized him. He was a 17-year-old when I was 5 doing Taekwondo.
Yeah.
So we were at the same dojo when I was a little kid, and I walked in, I was like, how do I know all these people already? But as you know, like, the jiu-jitsu community is like, it's a niche group of people from all over the place, and it's a small community. Like you'll run into the guy you tapped out in a tournament at a Fred Meyer. You know what I mean? Like it's just
not me. I've never tapped out anyone in a tournament.
Well, well, I mean,
you'll know a lot of people who tap me out.
There you go. There you go.
I've only tapped out high schoolers in a tournament, so it's like.
I mean, I don't ever put an age on it. Yeah. We don't gotta put it.
Jiu-jitsu knows no age.
Hey, come on, dude. They were in the adult division.
They were in the adult division.
Or I snuck into the kids division.
I mean, maybe shave my beard. We're good.
So Taekwondo, then Jiu-Jitsu, and now it's just everything.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I did Taekwondo for a while, and then once I quit, my grandma was like, you have way too much energy, you got to do something, pick a sport. I ended up settling on football, loved football, still love football, played it for 8 years all through high school. And then, I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't get the opportunity to go play football in college, and I was just kind of doing the Alaska thing where you start drinking and smoking and wasting time, being a bit of a burnout.
Wait for that reality show you guys
and then and then I was one day I was just like, man, I got to do something. I'm competitive, and I want to be competitive again. And in the back of my mind, you grow up wrestling with your friends and stuff. I've always been a smaller guy. And I've always said to my friends, they can vouch for this. I've always said, if I learn jiu-jitsu, you guys are screwed. Because I have long arms and I'm going to choke you. And then lo and behold, I learned jiu-jitsu, became, pretty good at it. And it's a funny how that goes. Because I told my friends, like, way back then, I had a feeling if I could learn to choke someone, I could do it well.
He does have 2 wins via rear naked choke. So
you know what I mean. I'm one of those. I'm one of those gifted long skinny guys. Who's got the length to choke you, but I'm not too strong.
It wasn't until jiu-jitsu that like my lankiness ever became like an advantage. It was just like a joke.
Well, I was never tall enough to play basketball with my length. So if I was 6'3" with these wings, come on. I'd be in the league, boy. but once I learned jiu-jitsu, I was like, okay, I can use these long arms to these long legs.
Just Darce everything.
Dude. I love it.
I know the long arm game.
Love it, Darce.
Any choke with the arm in.
Yes, sir. Anacondas.
Where'd you go to high school? East?
I grew up in Eagle River, so I went to Chugiak.
Dang.
I went to
way
Chugiak
off
High School.
Sorry.
I was born here in Anchorage, but my grandparents raised me and my brother out in Eagle River. So
and there wasn't even an Eagle River High School.
I was gonna say, why didn't you go to Eagle River High School then? But
there was.
Was there?
And my brother's first year of high school was when Eagle River opened. But I mean, my uncle, my mom, my brother, they all went to Chugiak. I was zoned for Chugiak. I was like, I'm not gonna go to the new school just cause. So.
Might as well stick it out with what everyone else did, right? All right, I figured it was like an in-town place, but.
I actually really didn't know Anchorage until I moved out here as an adult. I spent a lot of time in Chugiak and Peters Creek, and to me Anchorage was a big city for a long time because I was like, whoa, so many shits going on.
What made you move out to Anchorage?
Let's see. Originally I moved out just getting out of my grandparents' house, wanting to be a little self-sufficient, be an adult, live on my own. So I moved in with a buddy. In Mountain View, and then after that, again, just wanting to keep some. I mean, it's hard to bring a chick home to your grandma's basement. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough sell.
Fair enough.
It's a tough sell. So, definitely. I mean, moved out, wanted to keep living on my own, and just I love my grandparents, but at some time you gotta leave the nest.
So. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's get back to a little bit of MMA talk, and then we'll see what card's coming up after this. So yeah, last fight got canceled, and that was in October.
Mm-hmm.
February, Alex for the 125 belt.
Yes,
Now, I have heard of him,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's mostly just because like the podcast and trying to like look into the local scene a little bit more. Have you seen him fight before? What do you know about him?
I mean, he's fought a lot. I think he's 12-6 or something like that. So
Nice.
he's got a lot of fights. He's done, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA. I've even seen him competing at the jiu-jitsu tournament. So he's not
Nice.
inexperienced by any means.
Yeah.
Definitely a threat for sure. And then probably my biggest challenge as of date.
And is this your real record here? 3-1?
3-1 in MMA, correct?
Okay. When did you start fighting MMA?
I believe 2018, and then COVID caused a big long layoff. Or is that 2019?
2019.
2019, sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, so 2019, and then COVID shut everything down, so there was a long layoff there, and then just getting active, waiting for fights. It's tough being a 125er. There's not a lot of us out here, so I mean, thank you, Alex, for taking the fight, because there's not a lot of opportunities to prove.
He's probably in the same boat though, right?
Yeah, no doubt. We've talked about it before. It's there's slim pickings, and our paths were bound to cross. So
yeah. Do you like know him outside of like MMA, or like you guys just have contact because you're in the same community?
Just, I mean, like I said, jiu-jitsu is kind of a small community. I mean, I don't know him, but I've definitely seen him around, seen him at events, cornered fights against him.
Okay.
Had fighters fight his friends, that sort of deal. So definitely seen him at events and stuff before.
Okay.
But I mean, he's, like I said, he seems like he takes it serious, and that's all I can really ask for. Like, my last opponent didn't show up, and that's one of the most disrespectful things in my opinion, because it's like we agreed to do this. At least say no to the agreement.
Yeah. Like, at least show up and miss weight or something.
And fight me heavy. I'll do that.
Yeah,
like whatever.
We made this trip, and we made like this whole cut and everything. And, like, they had a camp. Like, give me something.
There was a brief moment in that instance where Shane asked if I wanted to fill in the fight card for him.
Oh, really?
And we were
I was looking for anybody who was close to weight.
I would have done it if I was not literally drinking the night he was texting me. I was like, bro, I'm like pretty hammered right now. I mean, I'll do it, but like it won't be good. It won't be very competitive.
Yeah. That'd be like best case scenario, kind of like for like a first fight, just like spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, the circumstances weren't great and you're drinking and all that, but like, if you weren't, like, that would be like the ideal situation for me. Like, I would never, have another fight, because the last one was 15 years ago, but that's what it would take if I was younger. I'd be like, I would take a fight then. If someone just called me out of the blue and I didn't have to like really train any harder for it, or like put like mental preparation in, like, I'd probably do it then.
Yeah, it's definitely like I always talk to my buddy Kevin, who's like one of my top training partners. I always talk to him about, like, there's so many emotions that you go through, like, months, these weeks, ahead of the fight. Like, it's not really so much fight week or in the cage per se, but like you were saying, like, getting to cut all that out, all the worrying, all the stress all the,
and just go straight to like the fun part.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always tell people. The fun part's after the weight cut. Job's done. Let's go have fun.
Yeah, it's like, and this the shortest, easiest part. Like, not like 2-hour long training sessions.
Right.
Not
in
having
relation
multiple
to what
things
we've done.
a day. Yeah, like, I'm just gonna go fight someone for 15 minutes. Like, we could do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time, and like I said, I'm confident Alex is a professional about it. Like I said, he's made weight. He's a champion.
So. Almost 20 fights too. Like,
so.
Something like that. Fuck, good for him, man. Good for you, Alex. That's awesome. Yeah. And like I said, and besides MMA, like, have you been like doing like the local jiu-jitsu tournaments recently?
I didn't do the last one because I was getting ready for the fight that got canceled. They were too close. Generally, I try to compete unless I don't have a fight conflicting with it.
All right.
So, you know the schedule. We do the 2 a year up here.
So 3 now. A Masters one.
Throw that third one up.
Yeah, that's cool, bro. I probably won't do it because
come on,
lazy and old.
Come on.
But that's what I would need is just one with other older folks like myself.
Do it.
So maybe I will.
Do it.
Even more so, local tournaments.
Hey, let's get him to say he'll do it. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I might do it if it'll give me a. When is it? It's like April or May or June or.
I think April's the kids, and then June or July for the Masters.
I didn't even know that they were doing it, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I saw him post it like a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I got some more people to reach out to, but like I said, there's local in-house tournaments, and then AGA does ones that are open to like everybody.
Yeah.
They got a guy and a girl one.
Those are currently in the works. They're trying to figure out when those are being scheduled.
Yeah. And then
I put my date in the hat on that one. I want them to do it before April.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it in March if you guys.
Yeah. And then there could or could not be more cool stuff coming up. Waiting on people to get back to me and other stuff, but I'm currently trying to get something going, so hopefully get more on that soon. But I need people to reach back out to me and put on some type of cool thing going on. But until then, like I said, local tournaments, in-house tournaments that are open to everybody.
Right.
So should be fun stuff.
For sure.
Did you watch the last pay-per-view?
I did watch the card. It was a pretty sweet card, I'd say.
I thought the prelims were really the highlight of it for me. And then I forgot. Oh, I know Randy Brown didn't fight on that. So that got canceled. That's too bad. Andre Feely came off a big win.
That was a big win, dude.
Yeah.
Especially that guy disrespecting him. The one thing I don't get is like people who like go to weigh-ins and face-offs and they like aren't there to just like shake hands and stare down. I'm like, what else? What are you doing here? Like, we're fighting tomorrow, bro. Like all this extra shit.
There's no reason to get crazy now.
Like either you should have been running your mouth for weeks, and that's where at least like Kobe stands on it.
Don't be a goober now.
Like don't wait till you're in front of me to all of a sudden be like I'm not gonna shake your head, whatever. All right, buddy.
All right.
So I was really glad to see Andre freaking drop that dude.
What was on the second prelim part? Because those ones.
That Durden fight wasn't bad. I always like watching UFC flyweights. I think they're.
That was.
I was gonna ask, how do you feel watching people in your weight class fight up?
I mean, obviously the guys at the top. It's like, whoa, they're fucking good.
Yeah.
But like, at any time I watch a flyweight fight, I just think like I can see myself doing it just because like they're good, but like it gets scrambly, it gets chaotic, and like there's a breakdown in technique when the flames get hot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not a technical proficicionado.
Yeah.
But like I definitely would be like, I would love an opportunity at some point to get to show if I have that level of skill. Because like I was saying, I mean, the ultimate goal is the attainment of the best skill.
Yes.
So watching them fight, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm working towards.
Nice. Middle prelims. Hey, I was really surprised that Ariana Lipsky beat Casey O'Neill.
That armbar was tough.
Dude, yeah. And I think in like her debut in UFC, but she had a nasty knee bar too.
Really?
And like she was like sitting on top of the girl.
Oh, you're right.
And she like just stood up and cranked into it.
You're right. That was her.
Woo!
Oh man.
I don't think I saw that one.
Dude, it was crazy.
It's tough.
Dude. It was a crazy one.
That's two big injuries.
Cody Garbrandt is now on a 2-fight win streak after I think the entire MMA community thought he was done.
I definitely thought he was.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he came back and just put Brian Keller out. And I thought Brian Keller was going to win. Like without a doubt, I thought he was going to win.
Really?
Yeah, because Cody's been like
he's been on a slump.
Yeah, like getting knocked out and Irene Aldana and Carol Rosa. I heard it was fight of the night, but I think I was driving to 907 Ale House when that fight was happening. And I picked that fight purposely because I'm not really a big fan of Irene Aldana.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she just kind of got hyped up and put into the Amanda Nunes fight because they just needed a new face for her.
Right.
So I was like, I'll skip that fight. I want to make
I
sure I make
honestly,
it.
same deal. I was like, I walked away from after the Cody fight. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go jump on Call of Duty.
Exactly. Right?
I jumped on Call of Duty, and my friend who had a TV and was playing Call of Duty goes, "This girl fight's bloody," and I just run into my living room to watch those two girls socking each other up.
I just saw the aftermath pictures for that, dude. That shit was.
Dude, they stood in the pocket, and there was no head movement.
And that's the one I'm gonna have to watch again too, man.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch it. Alonzo Menefield and Dustin Jacoby. Man, I don't honestly remember that fight, but I heard it was real good, and I had Alonzo pick to win it because he's a tank.
Yeah, dude, that dude's built.
Yeah.
I love and hate seeing people built like that, just because I'm like, it's not fair. You know, like you see people built. Some of these guys in the UFC, I'm like, dog.
Yeah.
Those genetics, dude. Like,
yeah, like I'm over here built like Irene Aldana, and then there's fucking guys like this walking around, right?
Like, bro, where are the pinholes? I know you're pinning your ass.
Yeah.
Fuck. How Josh Emmett literally killing Bryce Mitchell.
That was, you know, and like that is the case in point of like this isn't a game.
No,
you know what I mean. Yeah. Like you can say it as much as you want, but you don't play fighting. No. And there's, you know, like you'll hear that and you're like, yeah, I mean that makes sense, but like that's why. You know, you see shit like that, and like I mean he bounced back. You see him on social media afterwards, like he's okay, but like
telling him thank you for not following that up.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean,
like honestly though,
realistically, he would be in his right to do so.
He would.
You know what I mean? Like
it's
the
he didn't get pulled off.
It's the name of the game.
Plenty of people would have.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
that thud, man,
bro,
that was.
He stiffened up like a board,
and
I'm pretty sure he let some shakes out.
Oh, for sure.
Rogan was like, he's seizing.
Yeah. Oh man,
it was tough.
Ooh, that was a tough one to watch. And like, hey, he might have recovered the next day and been on social media, but hey,
give that man 6 months.
Yeah, are you really gonna recover from that? Because he could be the next 8-fight losing streak like Tony. After Tony took that Justin Gaethje beating.
Yeah,
I hate that you brought him up.
I had to.
I'm the biggest Tony Ferguson fan.
Are you? I was never a fan of him.
I'm the biggest Tony Ferguson
I always liked his fights, and I loved watching him on The Ultimate Fighter because I thought he was just like the best character, dude.
He's fucking chaotic, man.
Yes.
And like, to me, I love the fire. Like I love the storm. You know, the random rip spin elbows that he'll throw, or you know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been working, but for a long time,
do you remember when he fought Justin Gaethje? And obviously, this is like when it started, but when his corner yelled "pocket sand." And
I still yell pocket sand.
This fucking guy pretended to throw sand in his eyes.
Okay,
that sums up Tony Ferguson for me right there.
If he had sand though, that would have been a lethal.
It would have been beautiful.
He would have sand strewed that motherfucker like a bow right in the eye, dude. Like,
yeah.
But no, I did. I heard that, and I was like, you know, and then you hear like Eddie Bravo, same deal, like yelling like Imanari roll, and I'm like, you do not Imanari roll in the 5th round, bucko.
We're just trying anything now, apparently. Do anything.
Goggins in his corner trying to hype him up.
But you know, like to put respect on Tony's name, like he was one of the best, and, at the time he went on a tear.
Yeah,
and like you know, like obviously that type of coaching and work got him to where he was. He wouldn't have had them there. You know.
Yeah, I think he will.
So it's like, you know, there's a point to be made about like everyone is different. You know, and like I always try to tell people that like just because you see someone else doing it that way or in that exact order doesn't mean your body is going to respond best to that. Like, you really got to do a lot of studying and like asking of your like this whole being honest with yourself thing. Like, is this actually what's best for me? You know, is this how I learn best? Or, you know, people learn different ways. People compete different ways, and I definitely think people respond to coaching in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, like me myself, I like technical coaching. There's a time for some rah-rah coaching. But some people, they're not there. Once the adrenaline's going, they're not there for the technique, and all you can do is rah-rah them.
And all you can do is throw pocket sand.
Throw pocket sand and Imanari roll.
Yeah. Shavkat's the man.
Shavkat's the new Khabib?
Scary.
He's something, man. I liked him like when he first came on. And, man, still glad I'm on the Shavkat train.
Love the hat.
Yeah, well, that was it. Like, I was like, oh, this guy's coming out with that. Like, gotta be good. And he started finishing everybody.
I'll be interested to see.
Unfortunately, Wonder Boy's Wonder Man, and he's 40-something years old. So his time's kind of done.
I still love Wonder Boy. He's the most wholesome fighter on the
No, I still
UFC
like
roster.
him. You know,
He has that nicest motherfucker belt.
Yeah. He's never gonna fight for the world title again, but still a fan of him and like everything that he did and does. Pantoja gassed in the first round and still won.
That was honestly, dude.
I was sitting there
screaming at Royval.
Should just stop a takedown. Bro,
dude,
can we
or
sprawl?
like use a flipper, buddy. Let's elevate him. Stop letting him just lay on your leg.
For a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you have no way to getting up.
I mean,
and you never learned a takedown defense.
Like, you know what I mean? Like in this, I mean, I bet you it feels fucking different being underneath Pantoja.
I'm sure,
you know, but like
that's probably true.
At the same time, like in my head, as an armchair fighter, I'm over here like, buddy, you gotta try something. Because I mean, honestly, at one point, it looked like he was just accepting.
He definitely
being
was.
there, and I'm like,
when he had the lockdown in, I was like, oh, he's accepted being in half guard
because he wasn't trying to like move him up or move him up the lockdown. He just was holding him. Like, can we like swim for that other leg? Can we move him around?
But then it's also like, in my opinion, I'm also like, as a champion, Pantoja, I'd love to see you like at least put him away. Like if that's the case, like, let's put him away.
It was in that first round when he gassed 2 minutes in. He wasn't putting nothing away.
Nope.
But if Royval would have stopped the takedown, he would have finished.
I agree. He was piecing him up on the feet.
But we're over and let's not act like Brazilians are world-class wrestlers over here. No reason he should have been taken down at will by Pantoja, especially a gassed out one.
I think Pantoja was a wrestler.
Was he?
I'm almost certain that
he landed 8 of 14 takedowns.
I'm pretty sure Pantoja grew up wrestling before doing jiu-jitsu.
He might have.
But I mean, it is Brazilian.
Brazilian wrestling. It's when you gas out and still get takedowns, apparently.
Isn't that called a guard pull?
Royval might as well have just pulled guard and laid there.
Honestly.
Leon and Colby sucked.
I didn't like watching it, but at the same time, like I enjoy watching like Leon and Wonder Boy because I think they do a lot of slick things that don't like I was watching this breakdown. I don't know if you saw that the ninja choke that Leon tried.
Yeah.
And Colby had to like gator roll to get out of it.
Yeah.
But before that ninja choke, Colby defended a double leg with that like same position, so he like desensitized Colby to that arm being there.
Yeah.
And then the second time he hits him with the ninja choke, and in my head I'm like, all right, that's like beautiful strategy to like know it's there, not go for it, and then to snatch it on another opportunity. And so like there's a lot of stuff like that I think goes unnoticed in fights that don't end in exciting ways or
my thing was and Leon's a great fighter, right? Like you don't get that win streak and you don't get the belt if you're not a great fighter. And he deserves all the praise in the world. But Colby sucked in that fight. And you got to have a good dance partner to have a good fight, right?
For sure.
So unfortunately, like if one of them is having the most off night of his career, it's going to make the whole fight look bad. And Colby, like we were talking before, like I hate Colby like as a person. Like I get it, you're putting on an act,
right?
But I hate your act, and like your act makes you a bad person,
right?
Yeah. And if you're not gonna back it up in the cage,
and he usually does. Like I don't think many people chain like their wrestling together like with their striking and like add that pressure like Colby does.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great fighter, and I like his style of like using his strikes and just continuously pushing the pace and getting takedowns.
Well, I was excited for that fight because Leon is beautiful in the clinch defensively.
Yes.
Like defensively, he's beautiful. He does damage while defending, and so like I was excited to see that. And I mean, yes, it was sad to see Colby, perform like that, but at the same time, I'm like, you deserve that shit.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
He was claiming his foot broke early in the first round.
And like we were talking before, like I hope it did break because at least you have a reason for not shooting a takedown until the third round.
Yeah.
And not like even looking like the Colby that most people like.
And letting Leon land 2 of 3 takedowns on you.
Leon's maybe he's good at takedowns because he took down Kamaru too.
Leon might be low key dirty with the wrestling.
Yeah, and he's great. Like people slept on him for so long because like he wasn't on the microphone and all that. But like, that's
and his story's cool too. Like when he's like, I don't know if you've seen it, but like after the Bilal fight, when that fight got canceled because of an eye poke, he's like calling his mom and he's like crying.
Oh yeah.
He's like breaking down because he's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like. you know, like this might have been my opportunity.
Yeah.
And then after he fucking wins the belt, he's like, Mom, I told you, Mom. Like, you know what I mean? And like, to me, like,
it was one of those.
I'll always get like heart touched by stuff like that.
Dude, I still get chills to this day watching the post fight.
So it's that one, the Rose Namajunas one when she won her belt and she was just like crying and so happy, and the Brandon Moreno one. He got like those three get me. Yeah, and like it's just chilled up.
Dude, time. Not even Brandon Moreno when he won. Brandon Moreno, like months or like maybe a couple years before he won, he gave a speech after a fight. And he's like, I don't know. Maybe not today. Not next month. But I promise you guys, one day I will be champion. And I was like, that level of fucking commitment. I have so much.
I was a fan of him when he was on Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
And, you know, he lost Ultimate to Pantoja. Mm-hmm. He lost on the show. Not even the finals. He got cut. He got, you know, knocked off the show. Came to the UFC while the show was still on the air. Mm-hmm. And came in, had a couple good things going, got cut. And then he came back and then made that speech and right there I knew like I love this guy.
Yeah, no. When he won the belt, I was so happy for him.
Yep. All right. What's the next pay-per-view? 297. You might just build the arrow over.
I don't know what the next event would be. So it's not gonna be till the new year, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Strickland and Strickland and Duplessis?
You guys see them fight in the stands?
Yeah.
That
was the real main event.
I think, to be honest, I think Dricus murders him.
Do you?
I think so. Dricus is an animal.
He is built.
I hate that you said that.
And I know this. Yeah, we got a Sean Strickland fan over here.
Is the GOAT.
I hate
the American Psycho.
I hate him on the microphone. Obviously he's a good fighter, but I think
his last performance was his best.
Was a lightning strike of luck. Yeah, dude, I hate him. I think he tries so hard to act like he's not trying. And
I can see
it is.
I think you're looking in far too deep. I think he's just a psycho, and people set him off.
I mean, to be fair, have you guys seen him like pre-accident?
Oh,
he was in a gnarly accident.
He got in a gnarly motorcycle accident, and he used to be like this calm, chill guy. That's what I was trying to tell you about that one time.
That's what happened to Roseanne too, and she got in an accident as a kid, and then
Roseanne's hilarious. Come on, dude.
But no,
I don't even think she is though. You ever watch Kill Tony? When she's on that, she sucks.
Well, because she's hammered.
Just like Sean Strickland sucks.
Oh, you're a hater.
I think I am a Sean
Strickland is tough. I don't like watching him fight. Like I think every time I watch him fight, like when I'm talking to you guys about all the things I like about like Leon and stuff. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so clean.
It's the exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's
That's why I love him so much.
It's very like he shouldn't be able to get away with that.
He's got the iCarly stance, bro.
But he's like, you know, I mean, he's a tough individual, and like, you know, like he's got like the old school mentality. He's one of those old school breeds of like, fuck mitt work, I just want to spar.
Yeah.
Like I just want to show up and let me bang, bro. Like he's like one of those original let me bang.
He's War Machine.
Yeah, he's the just bleed guy from the crowd. I think Dricus runs through him.
Who knows if he can stop a takedown?
Yeah, people can't do that apparently. That's crazy. They only have 2 fights on the card. Raquel Pennington.
Come on, Strickland explained this. He has to come in and be the main event to help carry this woman co-main. Quote for quote what he said.
Is that what he said in that?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a soul in this world cares about this co-main event.
I'm gonna say I have no idea who they are.
What's the date of this card?
January 20th, the 20th of January.
So they need to get
some plenty of
cards on here, other fights on here soon. But yeah, they're given.
What about the prelim? There's nothing on the prelim.
It's gotta be. There we
Neil
go.
Magny
with Mike Malott,
Jan
versus Rakic. That should be decent.
Chris Curtis,
Dominic Reyes, and Carlos Ulberg. Ulberg destroys him. I bet.
Chris Curtis is sick.
I love Action Man. I love him.
That's another one. Have you seen his reaction to Sean winning?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they're bros.
Yeah, I know. That's what I like. You know, like when I talk about like what I enjoy in the sport. Like to me, I'm not necessarily like I have to 100% like you. You know, like I just respect like aspects of everyone's story because like I can relate to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be that emotional and that excited if I ever saw one of my buds winning.
What's the next card coming up?
So I think there's going to be a break for Christmas and then New Year's, and so I think the next card is going to be Ankalaev versus Walker on the 13th of January.
Number 2. Something happened. There was a bad stoppage in the first one.
Yeah,
Is that
Walker.
right?
Yeah, Walker was like still in it, and they stopped it. Like that was a weird one.
I think that's what they claimed. I don't remember the fight too well.
I do remember it being a bad stoppage. I agreed with it.
Yeah,
and
I think I
am
agreed
not
with
even. I hate Johnny Walker because I think something's mentally wrong with him. Like he's a child mentally.
Dude, when he hurt his arm doing the worm, I was like, "You're such a dude."
Yeah.
Or like anytime I see someone every time I see someone like Justin Gaethje like run up the cage and do a backflip, I'm like, "You boys are playing with fire, dude."
Yeah.
Like
when your ankle blows.
Yeah, like you're gonna feel so stupid
when you break your toe because it slips in the cage.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I get being excited and like more power to him. Just
it's crazy.
That ain't me.
The giant backflip off the cage scares me every time. I'm just waiting for something bad to happen.
Right.
I can't believe Jim Miller's still fighting. But I'm pretty sure he's actually been doing fairly decent recently.
Which card is that? Oh, damn.
That's on the 13th of January.
I know he said that his goal
300,
is to
right?
fight for UFC 300.
And was it because he was on 100
and
200 and he's trying to get 300? They'll give him that.
They should give him that. That'd be cool.
They'll give him that.
Phil Haas is fun because he's built like a superhero.
Yeah, that dude, he is built pretty.
Who is?
Phil Haas.
Oh, yeah.
And he has cool bleached hair like Kevin Randleman, so I will always be a fan of them.
Who's he fighting? I can't read that.
Bruno Ferreira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So not honestly the most stat cards coming up, but I'm sure they're saving some people up for 300. So
that and I mean I think he was saying didn't Dana say something about every fight is supposed to
Yeah, but then they just announced 2 fights for 300. Bo Nickel's on it, but he's fighting Cody Brundage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Exactly.
That's exactly.
I know who he is because
do you?
I do know who he is. But it's not the guy.
He's real. He's about it.
Yeah, but it's not the guy that you have fight Bo Nickel with all the hype behind Bo Nickel.
No, you got.
You have to have people even if you're a casual fan or. The casual fan needs to know who Bo Nickel's fighting.
Mm-hmm. Especially at UFC.
I agree.
And if you guys are here and you watch all the fights and you don't know who Bo Nickel's fighting, that's a problem.
That is
right.
I mean, personally, I think he should be fighting Hamza. Him and him have been talking a whole lot of shit about each other.
I heard they were trying to set it up for the title fight when that comes. So I'm down for that.
That's crazy.
But it was for that to be the first one announced for 300. It was not good.
What were the other ones that were announced? I saw there was 2 other ones, right?
I know there was one for sure, and I can't even remember.
I think he just announced that there was another
Yuri.
That's right.
No, it was Calvin Kattar versus Aljo.
Yep, that one's
was
on
that
there.
it? Because
I think both of those fights though. I think he said something about Yuri too.
Yuri and Alexander Rakic.
Nah, but Alexander Rakic is fighting on that last card we just looked at. He was fighting Jan.
Maybe.
Nah, I gotta go back over wherever it was. Other way.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even show it, but
yeah, no, it definitely is gonna be a lull for the next couple of Volkanovski Topuria. That's gonna be a good one.
So go to this one, go down.
I don't know how you guys feel, but Topuria sucks.
Maybe I kind of agree.
Maybe it was on the prelims. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
I think you're right. I think it was prelims.
Yeah, see, it says he's fighting Young Block. So I don't know what that post was. But there is one other fight announced for 300, and it was...
The Aljo one?
Yeah, I think it might have. I know that was announced. I don't know when it was for, though. But yeah, I saw Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage, and it left a bad taste. But yeah, so we're at an hour and something.
Hour 20?
Hour 20. February 6th.
February 6th.
Alex Aschenbrenner,
Yes, sir.
Alaska Airlines Center.
Yes, sir.
There's still tickets available, and you have a code.
Yeah,
people can support you
go,
and chip in.
If you go to the Solid as a Rock page, or if you go to my Instagram, I'll be posting it. But you'll go to the link and you'll purchase a ticket online, and then you'll just use code REAPER, REAPER, all caps. and you'll be helping support me as I attempt to go get this flyweight championship.
All right, man. Well, we wish you luck.
Thank you, sir.
I can't wait for it. First Soldiers Rep card in Anchorage. Everybody get tickets while they're there, and let's support Mr. Shane Hall.
Yeah, come out, show your support, make it loud. Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's shanehollogram on Instagram, and then just Shane Hall on Facebook if you guys want to follow. I will be looking for sponsors if any small businesses out in Anchorage want to support me as I'm attempting this lifelong goal of being a champion and then moving on and continuing to compete in the sport. So
awesome. Yep. So please follow him. If you know business owners or something, throw his name out there. And Alaskan Scum, Mediocre Grappler, and I think you can pretty much listen to this anywhere podcasts are for the most part, watch it on YouTube. And yeah, come out, support Shane, February 6th, the Alaska Airline Center.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Come on out.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.